Hello, 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 and mwah, happy Valentine's Day, my Valentine, wherever you may be. Great cover, The Trends Journal by Anthony Freda. You broke my heart. Happy Valentine's Day, but we can't put it up because they may not like it over there at Google Land. But if you go to trendsjournal.com in a little bit after the magazine goes up later tonight, probably go up in about 2 hours, you'll see the great cover. Yep. Happy Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2023. And there's so much to be happy about. Yeah. What's going on over there in Ukraine war just keeps heating up. Huge coverage in your Trends Journal magazine, the Ukraine war. And it's just getting worse and worse. World War III, Moscow increases attacks on Ukrainian power grid. U.S. tells citizens to leave Russia immediately. U.S. at war with Russia. NATO troops are fighting in Ukraine. U.S. at war with Russia. Washington provides coordinates for Ukraine HIMARS strikes, report says. On and on. Russia. U.S. conducting total hybrid war, putting two nuclear powers on path to clash. Lot more, and then this just came out. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. What the hell is a guy that's a former general doing as our defense secretary, number one? And number two, his last job was sitting on the board of directors of Raytheon, the second largest defense contractor in the United States. He expects to see Ukraine conduct an offensive in the spring. Offensive. Ukraine is losing the war. Russians are knocking out the power grid. They're attacking the attacker in the sense that the more weapons that they know that are going into Ukraine by NATO and the United States and its 50 allies, the more they're going to ramp up the war against them. What Ukraine wants to do at this first possible moment is to establish or create momentum and establish conditions in the battlefield that continue to be in their favor. Lloyd Austin, a guy that was in Iraq as general, and you lost over there, and you're giving all this great advice. Oh, and how many people did you kill when you were over there? Oh, and speaking about killing, I wonder if they'll kill me when I go to the rally this week where I'll be speaking at. Yeah. Rage against the war machine. Rage against the war machine. I'll be one of the speakers there, along with Ron Paul, Tulsi Gabbard, Jimmy Dore, and a number of other great speakers. That's just a short list of them. So please come down to Washington this Sunday, 12:30 p.m., rageagainstwar.com, at the Lincoln Memorial. Do what you can in the name of peace. Because if we don't fight for peace, we're going to die in war. And if you can't make it down there, do something positive. Support Rage Against War, this war, Occupy Peace, freedompeacejustice.com. Do something. As I said, a friend of mine emailed me, he said, hope you get a lot of people down there. He said, but people don't listen. I wrote back to him. I said, yeah, I know people don't listen, but how about the people who do listen? What are they doing? What are the people that know what's going on? What are they doing? Or are they going to do nothing and then die in war? And then you had that guy, Smiley Miley, the guy, what a man, is what this cat looks like. That guy who's the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Miley, Millie Mouse, Mickey Mouse. He says that Russia has lost strategically, operationally. And Putin thought he could defeat Ukraine quickly, fracture the NATO alliance, and act with impunity. He was wrong. He never thought he would fracture the NATO alliance. That's a total lie. It was about the violation of the Minsk agreement. It was about NATO moving on to Russian borders. And it was about the Ukrainians killing some 15,000 people in the Donbass region, as detailed in your Trends Journal when it used to be a quarterly magazine back in 2014. You see how happy that guy is? Yeah, Ukrainian. People have no idea about the United States overthrow of the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych. I was speaking to a woman from Ukraine this past Saturday. She had no idea. No idea. All she knew was to hate the Russians. I started telling her all these other things. She said, I never knew anything about what you're telling me. And I showed her in print. She said, my God, I can't believe this. I had no idea. And that's, by the way, why you subscribe to the Trends Journal, because we're giving you in-depth socioeconomic and geopolitical trends analysis and trend forecasts that you won't find anywhere else. So subscribe to trendsjournal.com, trendsjournal.com. And also, of course, make sure you click on the subscribe button below to get all our exclusive interviews and trends analysis. And, you know, we're 100% independent. I've said this many times, no advertisers. And this is going to be a big issue. This will probably be over 170 pages this week. You read what you want, things that are important to you. So please consider sharing this video so we can get the word out. And if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the Trends Journal. It's less than $3 a week. New York Times, the toilet paper record, it comes out to about $4 an issue. And I barely get an article out of it that I could use for trend forecasting. So Ukraine remains free. They remain independent. NATO and this coalition have never been stronger, and Russia now a global pariah. They are not a global pariah. They are a pariah among the pariah nations, the United States and NATO, a war that's been going on with Russia all of my life with the Cold War. So anyway, just a load of crap, and they're not free and remain free and independent. They have air raid sirens going off all across the country, according to the reports in the mainstream media. So this is total Millie, Miley, Mickey Mouse
bullshit. Bullshit. That is bullshit. Bullshit.
It's the war against the machine. We have to stop this. So going back to the Trends Journal, you know, Joe Duran, who writes for us, came out with this book, Dehuman, Essays on the Degrowth, Decarbon, and Decrypto War of the Real Human Progress. And you look at the thickness of this, and it's really about how the government is robbing us of our rights, stealing our money, the rich becoming richer. And it gives you all the facts about how the elites are trying to destroy our freedom. But I'm mentioning this because what we have in technocracy trends in the Trends Journal each week, you won't find anywhere else, coming from so many different areas. And then again, special guest articles, and we got a load of them, not a load, but really great ones in here this week. Of course, there's by Gregory Mannarino, the Global Financial Impact. He's on this thing every week. Again, a feature article by Dr. Joseph Mercola. The cost of ignorant expert policymakers during COVID. Feature article by Gary Null, Celebrity Privilege and Modern Decadency. Featured article by John and Nisha Whitehead, distract, divide, and conquer the painful truth about the state of our union. And an article that you won't find anywhere else, or you'll find it other places, but not like from a man that says it like no one else. This is a guy that was a top CIA operative that went into George Bush's office and gave him the details that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Yeah, little Georgie Bush with a dick about that big and a pair of balls smaller than a pea. That little fucking prick, murderous bastard that should be brought up on war crimes. The daddy's boy, yeah, tells Giraldi to leave the office. Come on, get out of here. You know what Giraldi did? Being a real man, he quit the CIA. An article about that he wrote here about what's going on in Israel. And that's really big. Israel is on the brink of a civil war. You read in the Trends Journal, we have the links, and this is coming from Israeli Jewish people in the United States. Yeah. So this is really serious. Yesterday, there were some 100,000 people took to the streets around Parliament in Jerusalem, around the Israeli Parliament. It was in Tel Aviv, I guess, wherever the hell it is, whatever land they stole, wherever that is, and they're protesting these new judicial proposals that Netanyahu is putting in. And this is serious. The people know how serious this is. So what happens is when all else fails, they take you to war. The people, 41% of the people are opposed to this in Israel. So Israel's going to ramp up, we are forecasting, the war against Iran. If military conflict breaks out between Israel and Iran, you're going to see oil prices skyrocket to above $130 a barrel, and the whole global economy will crash, and so too will equity markets. And on the equity market front, again, trends on the economic and market front, economic update, market overview, global economic front, of course, and when the economy falls, jobs go with it. This is our 28th week of putting this out on the job numbers. So today the CPI numbers came in, Consumer Price Index, 6.5%, brought down the markets. Where's it going? What does it mean? What's next? We have the details in your Trends Journal, trendsjournal.com, that you won't find anywhere else. Germany's housing boom goes bust. Bank of Canada defends pausing rate increases. Oh, yeah? You know how much their inflation went up? Do you know how many people are having difficulty paying their bills? It's all in your Trends Journal. We cover the world. Again, we're providing in-depth geopolitical and socioeconomic trend forecasts and trends analysis that you won't find anywhere else on the planet. So that's just a little bit of what's going on in your Trends Journal. Again, trends in the COVID war. Oh, by the way, all this bullshit about the, I can't say anything bad because we'll get censored, but it's a masquerade. It's a joke. So anyway, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Oh, before I forget, though, we have Trends Eye Views. As the government keeps blimping up junk food, as Americans keep blimping up, junk food sales surge. Government sanctions censorship. Ex-Twitter executives try to bullshit their way out of culpability. Oh, one after another. The Global Disinformation Index. On and on and on. A lot here about the chat GPT, and much, much more. We're giving you everything we can. So remember, Sunday, I'll see you down in D.C. That's right. Rage Against the War Machine, anti-war rally, February 9th. The site you want to go to pick it all up is rageagainstwar.com. Rageagainstwar.com. We're doing everything we can to stop this madness before we live on hell on earth. Could you imagine being a Ukrainian and your bombs going off, infrastructure being destroyed, power, no heat, no lights, no life. You're not going out. It's dead. And the people are being killed. We have to stop this war. I'm totally opposed to Russia's invasion. Make that 100% clear. But as I wrote in the Trends Journal, so did Dr. Paul Craig Roberts back in 2014, totally understand why they invaded. So if we don't unite for peace, we're going to die in war. So please support us because we're doing everything we can to support you. Trendsjournal.com, trendsjournal.com, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We got to get more followers. So hit that little arrow that's pointing down that shows you where you got to go. So where's that arrow they got to hit? It's there. All right. Thank you very much. Oh, don't forget tomorrow. Judge Andrew Napolitano. He has there's nobody that I know that knows the Constitution and the Bill of Rights better than he does. So tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern for Celente and the judge. Thank you.
Get the Trends Journal, the best investment you could make, because it's the best investment into your mind and it can change how you look at the world.
Over the last 30 years, Gerald Celente has been more accurate about predicting what would be happening than anyone else I'm aware of.
The Trends Journal is one of the greatest sources of information, and it really is. You're predicting these things well ahead of time. I would encourage everyone to go grab the latest copy.
Been a Trends Journal subscriber for 20 years. I just have to commend you. What you guys have put together in your latest Trends Journal, there's nothing like this out there.
Sir, everything that you predicted about the economy, you were absolutely right. So I have followed you all this time. So please take a look at the Trends Journal.
You correctly forecast that the Fed would hike rates quite aggressively, correctly said that initially gold and silver would drop as the Fed starts to raise rate to 1.5% and above. When we spoke last, Bitcoin was around 49,000. You said you expect to drop, and if it drops below 30, 35, then it could really drop.
Gerald Celente I tell people all the time, listen, I can't control the news, but you've got to know so that you can make good decisions for your life and for your family and for your money. And I know you're the guy to give it to them.
Trends Journal, which I would encourage people to go and check out. It's actually a 200-page document, pure data-driven analysis.
Gerald Celente, the top trends forecaster in the world. Gerald, you had an interesting call back in September of last year. You said gold had bottomed, which is exactly what happened. And here we are, and we're above $1,900.
Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happened at trendsjournal.com.